Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
Chicago,
to the
Chicago.
Chi-Town Expat Show, and this is your host, Ron Harders.
Chicago.
Now, there's some really big news coming out of Tucson, Arizona this week. It seems that there's a big sex trafficking spot that's been found by a group of people called Veterans on Patrol, who go out and look for homeless veterans living in the desert. And they stumbled upon this site that looks pretty much like a place to hold kids primarily for sex trafficking. And it's on land owned by CEMEX. CEMEX is a multinational building materials company headquartered in Mexico. Is at the center of a controversy in Tucson, Arizona, where citizens say that they have uncovered a sex trafficking bunker which local authorities have refused to examine. Big League Politics reported on the grisly scene with photos from the alleged sex trafficking site. After alerting local and federal law enforcement about the situation and receiving no help, Veterans on Patrol rallied local volunteers together to physically dig up the site. VOP has amassed a groundswell of support and has vowed to keep the uncooperative law enforcement entities out of the site while they conduct a private investigation. They are hopeful to bring cadaver dogs on site to search the area. Now, I just saw a report yesterday that they found the skull and bones of a child in the about 9 years old at the site, at one of the sites. Now, the local media has stopped reporting on the group's activities. So somebody doesn't want this to be brought out into the public knowledge. The situation came to a head Sunday afternoon when, according to the group, they dug up a bloody knife, female underwear, and a plane ticket of a potentially missing girl from Seattle. The group is trying to contact the girl's family for verification. They filmed the finding live on Facebook, and shortly thereafter, the police showed up and arrested 2 members of the group for trespassing. The CEO of Bronfman E.L. Rothschild is Lady Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. She is a member of the Council of Foreign Relations. The mayor of Tucson is named Jonathan Rothschild, but it is unconfirmed whether he is related to the dynastic family. I kind of doubt that he's not, but anyway, the chairman of the board of Bronfman E.L. Rothschild is Matthew Bronfman, one of the heirs to the Seagram's liquor fortune. Bronfman's sister, Clara Bronfman, is the operations director of the Clinton-connected NXIVM sex cult. His other sister, Sarah Bronfman, is a Clinton Global Initiative member. in 2004 at the rate of $25,000 a month. Now, when you look at all of this sex harassment, sexual harassment, and all of the things that you've been seeing in the mainstream media about who's being chastised and taken into custody and so on and so forth for doing sexual things with people that they've been involved with, like Mr. Weinstein, and then you realize how goofy some of these people who are running the country are in their daily lives and in their what they spread out to the nation and into the world as to what their positions on life and so on and so forth are. You can understand why they belong to a group called like NXIVM, which is not only sex slavery, but all kinds of sexual deviance and Satanist ritual and blood drinking and all kinds of other things. And it's an amazing thing, and you really need to look it up and figure out why we should be re-electing these people who do nothing but lie to us day in and day out. And once they get into government and into a position, they figure out that they can simply do whatever they damn please, or sell out to the one world order. And it takes a certain amount of craziness to be able to sit back and think that you're going to be the elite that's going to run the world, and you're going to have to reduce the world's population by 80 to 90%, and enslave the rest of the people that are not, that are still alive, that are not part of your group. So just look into it very deeply and get out to those sites, and you'll see what's going on and be much better informed. So now we're going to pay some bills, and we'll be back shortly. So stay tuned for more on Chi-Town Expat.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. Chicago, Chicago, I will show you around.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school.
The light counted. 15, 14.
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll
Raccoon
Street. Danny's
There's so
smart,
many
but he gets
sounds.
distracted.
I
Realized he
there's
forgot his
one.
homework.
I hope I don't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the Search Engine and Digital Marketing Race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hi there, we're back. And got something else for you. Enough of that sex stuff for the time being. It seems like everybody was predicting that the national debt was going to be a terrible thing under Donald Trump. And when then candidate Donald Trump campaigned for the presidency in 2016, expert economists and analysts predicted his tax, trade, and regulatory policies would prove disastrous to the economy. They further asserted that Trump's economic policies would most likely push the national debt dramatically higher than the $19.9 billion it stood at when Trump took office in January 2017. Since taking office, President Trump has proceeded to slash costly and unnecessary regulations left and right, while restructuring trade deals and passing into law substantial tax cuts for corporations and individuals, all of which has contributed to what can only be described as a booming economy, which, by the way, Nancy Pelosi and her buddies in the Democratic Party have been poo-pooing all along. The national debt has steadily increased from 19.9 to 21.1 trillion over that time as well, as could be expected, though not near as dramatically or at as high a rate as the experts had foretold. Then something rather odd occurred between April and June of this year, as the growth rate over time. According to a daily history of the national debt compiled by Treasury Direct, the national debt stood at $21,128,428,167,134.32 on April 2nd. That amount fluctuated for several days before dropping substantially to a low point of $629,629,980,555.97 on May 1st, prior to increasing somewhat, quite possibly, the result of tax revenues flooding into the Treasury over the course of the month. As of June 1st, the national debt stood at 21,841,890.82, a difference of $36.3 billion, down. The national debt is known to fluctuate slightly from time to time from a myriad of factors. And though the president's detractors would be loath to admit it, there is a little doubt that Trump's economic policies have played a role in this admittedly marginal reduction of the debt. That said, $36 billion is not an amount that can be dismissively waved away, and signifies real money that could be used to fund other initiatives of the president that Congress seems incapable of funding, such as a border wall, perhaps. According to a 2017 report from Reuters, the Department of Homeland Security released an official estimate of what the cost would be to construct a barrier along much of the southern border with Mexico. That DHS report, which took into account the cost of construction and materials as part of a 3-year construction plan, estimated the border wall would bear a price tag of approximately $21.6 billion. Now, they've already saved $36 billion. As shown above, that amount was more than realized in the reduction of the national debt over just a 2-month period, proving it is not an impossible amount to find or make free from other obligations. Make no mistake, the national debt remains far too high and will inevitably continue to grow, thanks in large part to incredibly excessive spending by Congress and long-term programs that were seemingly designed to spend ever-increasing amounts of funds over time. That said, a continuation of Trump's pro-business economic policies and booming economy, combined with increased tax revenues overall from corporations and individuals reaping the fiscal benefits of those policies, could stem the growth of the debt and even lead to marginal, potentially even substantial reductions in the debt over time. When then-candidate Donald Trump campaigned for the presidency in 2016, expert economists and analysts predicted his tax, trade, and regulatory policies would prove disastrous to the economy. If Trump could only work with Congress to also decrease their out-of-control levels of spending, it would not be difficult at all to find the funds for his border wall or other planned initiatives, while possibly even reducing the national debt at an even more significant rate. Now you have to understand something. The Congress of the United States is made up of a bunch of puppets who are beholden to lobbyists and outside interests who are more interested in government money and than they are in the country itself. And as long as they can keep getting their money and keep bleeding the American people dry, they will continue to do it. Now, they are part of this cabal of New World Order people. And their idea is to, through the central banks, to take all of the wealth of the country unto themselves and to leave the poor and the rest of us poor and destitute. And then they will have the ability and then create the wars that will help in devastating the population of the world, because they want to reduce that population by between 80 and 90%. And we are foolish enough to keep electing these people and to keep allowing the Department of Justice to let them get away with it and not be holding them responsible for their their infidelity to the Constitution. It was some great men in the past who said that government, there were two kinds of people in the world. There are two kinds of the thieves and government. And it was up to us in the Constitution to chain down the government to where we could eliminate at least one of the thieves that was affecting us. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't listen to the Democrats. Vote Republican, but again, take a look at the Republican that's running and make sure he's not running just, or she is not running just to become part of the cabal. And we must find real Americans, preferably businessmen and women who are familiar on how to run something without running into debt, and can make a success out of whatever they take in hand. It's a shame that no matter what the government does, it fails. It can't run anything well. It can't run anything within budget. And it cannot do anything that the private sector can do for a lot less money, with a lot less people, and with a lot less effort. So you guys get off your butts, get out there and do your due diligence, and we'll be back shortly after we pay some bills.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14. 41, 31, I mean 13. We Took a left on Carroll Raccoon Street. Danny's There were so smart, many but he gets sounds. distracted. I Realized he there's forgot his one more. homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hey there, we're back. And in fact, I got it this morning, the Limbaugh letter. And there's a few interesting articles out of that, what he calls the News Digest. And one of them is apparently decades of feminist attacks on masculinity have flopped. Turns out that even liberal women are turned off by wimpy lefty men who parrot progressive talking points to score points with them. A BizPac Review article, Gamma Male Syndrome, Why Even Liberal Women Aren't Attracted to Liberal Men, analyzes a Millionaire Match.com poll of wealthy women. A full 85% agreed that conservative men are better in bed. Naturally, over 76% of Democrat female millionaires said they would prefer to date a conservative male over a liberal man. Comments from the participating women included, "Politics never mattered to me when we're inside the bedroom. And liberal men are less masculine. So give it up, Michael Moore and Pajama Boy. You'll never be sex symbols. Even feminists know that once you go right, you'll never take flight." That's cute. Anyway, hot messes. It seems like California is spending a lot of money, like $40,000 a mile. And what they're going to do is spread, they're going to paint all their streets white to fight global warming, of course. Because when Southern California temperatures rise above 100 degrees, the surface temps of black asphalt can climb to 150 degrees. This produces a phenomenon known as urban heat island effect. In other words, it gets hot in the city. Gee, we live in Arizona. I wonder how hot it gets on the street here. It's only 106 today so far. So now a grayish white coating called Cool Seal will be sprayed from a truck and spread on the pavement with a squeegee. The white surface can lower street temperatures by around 10 degrees to 140 degrees. Spending $40,000 per mile for roads you can still fry an egg on may sound like a boondoggle, but look at it from the lib view. It's a jobs program. First for the truck drivers and squeegee people. Then think of the miles of clean canvas for graffiti artists and the cost per mile to remove the graffiti and the oil and skid marks. Don't forget the emergency environmental cleanup mobilization when the coating ships off into the sewer and water system, and the lawsuits for the microaggression of white streets, not to mention the political kickbacks. See, if you're a lefty, it makes perfect sense. And then there's the throwing of shade. Are you longing to someday make it to that giant beach umbrella in the sky? Well, that day could be on the horizon. According to the UK Guardian, scientists from Harvard have come up with a genius idea, creating atmospheric sunshade using balloons. Yes, you guessed the reason, to shield the most vulnerable countries in the global south against the worst effects of global warming. In yet another wacko example of geoengineering, this stratospheric controlled perturbation effect involves releasing aerosols from the balloons. This happens at a height of 20 kilometers, or 12.5 miles, in order to alter the reflective properties of cloud cover. Why not just squirt massive amounts of sunscreen into the sky? Oh, I'm sure some scientist somewhere is working on that. And what's the downside of monkeying around with the sunshine? Well, massive crop failures to start, which is why, as the Guardian notes, scientists from the most vulnerable countries want a greater say in scientific plots to fix the climate. After all, their countries are the ones with the most at stake. In other words, stick your balloons where the sun doesn't shine. Now, there's another one, and it's kind of strange. Penn State University students wanting to get back to nature or even visit nature to answer the call of nature are out of luck. As reported by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, university administrators have banned the Penn State Outing Club from going outside. The club, which was organized recreational hikes, canoeing, and overnight camping trips for students for 98 years. Why? A PSU risk assessment determined that the types of activities in which OC engages are above the university's threshold of acceptable risk for recognized student organizations. Because camping, hiking, and other outdoor activities take place in remote environments, limited cell phone service, and access to emergency services. It's true the great outdoors don't have safe spaces, but that's kind of the point. The real risk to these students is the rot-gut liberalism surrounding them inside the classroom. Anyway, that's wonderful. And now, Dorm rooms have traditionally been places of study and rest for college students after long hours of academic pursuits. Not at Duke University, where dorm rooms have morphed into Stalinist social laboratories. Disturbed by what they call enclaves of homogeneity among students, Duke administrators no longer honor roommate requests. Instead, they are pairing roommates for their racial, sexual, and social economic differences. NPR describes the new roommate system as random pairings, but there's nothing random about it. As Vice President for Student Affairs Larry Moneta explains, the new policy is in the school's interest of broadening students' horizons. So Duke specifically puts kids with entirely different people than the ones they grew up with or went to high school with. Except for minorities, the disabled and LGBTQ students, Moneta explains. We'll make sure that no disabled student or student of color is in a situation that's incompatible or uncomfortable for them. But the rest of the student body, incompatibility and discomfort for you. So we're going to eliminate personal choice and make it good for the collective. Is there any end to this liberal nonsense? Is there any way that we can re-educate the educators in this country? What is wrong? We have allowed this to happen because we've been too busy making a living, buying a house, buying a car, doing our work. We haven't had time to play the victim. We haven't had time to sit around and complain about how bad we have it. All we have to do is quit watching TV, quit listening to the radio, and get off our butts and get busy doing what needs to be done in this country to save it. So now we got to pay some more bills, and we'll be back shortly with the rest of the show.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town.
Olivia
Chicago,
from Washington.
Chicago, I will show you.
Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn off the fake news and turn on Center Right Radio. Online now at centerright.live.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
You're listening to America's favorite political discussion on Center Right Radio.
Hi there, we're back for the final segment of the day. And you remember the border caravan that we talked about, or that the Trump administration and Mexico talked about, where all of these people were coming to the United States because of for illegal immigration and they were going to swamp the border. Well, there were some lies told by the libs about the caravan so that we believed that it was a wonderful thing that was going on. Lie number one is it's a spontaneous migration in search of safety. Hundreds of Central American asylum seekers set out in a caravan, traveling together to protect themselves from threats like rape. Vox spinning why 1,200 people traveled 2,000 miles through Mexico to the U.S. 4/6/18. Fact. Led by the aggressive California-based Open Borders group Pueblos Sin Fronteras. The caravan stunt was one long left-wing photo op. PSF demanded the U.S. open the borders to us because we are as much citizens as the people of the countries where we are, and or travel. No, you aren't. This slick operation, including the luxury buses, was funded and stage managed by George Soros and other elitist donors using duped mothers and children as props. Open Borders big money. Soros funding to groups pushing open borders from Central America, 2016 and 17. National Immigration Law Center. They got $1,575,000. The National Immigration Forum, $500,000. Migration Policy Institute, $350,000. Pro Bono Net, $240,000. Catholic Legal Immigration Network, $150,000. National Black Justice Coalition, 100,000. And my point on that is I'm not sure why the Black Justice Coalition should be getting any money from all this Mexican integration, because it's hurting the black people more than it is anybody else. But the New York Immigration Coalition, 100,000. The Tides Center, 100,000. And Mayor's Office of New Bostonians, 80,000. That's just amazing. Line number 2, it's about jobs. We demand the United States respect our rights to dignified work, to be able to support our families. That's a PSF press release. The fact, caravan participants were issued humanitarian visas and permission to remain in Mexico. Yet 400 to 500 spurned the offer, demanding entry to the U.S. As Forbes reports, Mexico is far richer than it has been at any point in its history, with a 2.9% unemployment rate, lower than America's 3.9%. There's plenty of work in Mexico. Lie number 3, it's about asylum. It is a group of desperate people fleeing in accordance with internationally accepted rules. The Northern Triangle of Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Fact, asylum seekers must have a credible fear of political persecution due to their race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. Though they're from the top tier of nations receiving asylum, only a tiny percentage of Central Americans who apply meet U.S. asylum standards. Yet open borders activists like PSF coach migrants to say the magic words, that is a lie, to U.S. officials in order to receive refuge. Lie number 4, it's about coming out of the shadows. The caravan is for the safety of the migrants so they can organize themselves. That collective power gives them an opportunity to come out of the shadows. That's by Alex Mensing, caravan organizer and PSF agitator, voice of San Diego. Fact, for the vast majority of caravan participants, the asylum process will be lengthy and pointless. Around 80% of caravan members seeking asylum are from Honduras, which has the highest deportation rate of any nationality. Meanwhile, some are able to linger in the U.S. on parole and melt into the shadows. Lie number 5, it's about xenophobia. This is what it looks like when the U.S. government is afraid of a group of refugee moms, dads, and kids. Alex Mensing again, posting a photo of San Isidro Detention Center on Twitter. In fact, Americans watching the caravan drama unfold were not afraid. We were livid at the spectacle of dozens of young men climbing the wall at San Isidro, waving Honduran flags, singing the Honduran national anthem, and giving Americans the finger. On 4/6/18, Rafael Alvarez Martinez compared Trump's border wall to the Berlin Wall, telling CNN Trump is discriminating against Americans. We are Americans, Hondurans, Nicaraguans, El Salvadorans, Mexicans, all of us. Nope, that's not how it works. Now, folks, we have been allowed to have open borders in this country for ages. And it's been because of the Democrats and their desire to have new Democratic voters. We have to stop this nonsense and do it now. So please support President Trump's border wall. And now stay tuned for the Chips and Salsa show, and they have an interesting guest this afternoon. I'm not sure who it is, but they always do. So I'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Chicago.